Rent is too damn high, and it has been for years now. The three largest multinational investment companies, they have 1.6 trillion in assets across the country in rental properties. 1.6 trillion with the T. That's that's more than any corporations need to own. The people should own it, like it used to be. Well, let's see what they have to say.
Why are there not more people talking about the housing crisis? It's time to expose the truth. Since 2020, global rent prices have spiked 30%, driven by inflation and housing shortages. Think about that, 30%. Millions are on the brink of eviction, while investors snap up properties, deepening inequality. Let's break it down. Inflation pushes costs up, housing supply can't keep pace, demand skyrockets, and rent follows suit. What's the real world impact? Families forced into homelessness, communities torn apart, wealth disparity growing. But it's not just numbers, it's real lives, real people, struggling, fighting to stay afloat. So what can we do? We need policies for affordable housing. We need to hold investors accountable. And most importantly, we need to stay informed. Can we fix the housing crisis? Subscribe for more economic truths. Let's work together for change.
A housing shortage, that's definitely not one of the issues. We've had plenty of houses built in recent times. It's more the quality of the home and most importantly, the price. It used to be just a few years ago, you can get a decent sized house for 250,000, no problem, 300K. Now you're lucky to get a $400,000 house equivalent, and most of the time it's more than that. The average home price is pushing $500,000 across the country, and the recent home constructions, it's low quality crap. Go ahead and put an inspector in one of those new homes that are built. There's plenty of videos out there. You're going to see that they're looking at just the structure of the homes, foundation. You can go into the rooms, especially up in the corners, and start seeing the misalignment of the walls that people can't even build an interior wall straight anymore. So the quality's shoddy. It's way overpriced. It's all bad.
Your rent has gone up, and if you looked on Zillow recently for relief, you've probably been bummed out. Got a bad case of the I can never move again. You're not imagining it. A study finds that for the first time ever, rent is unaffordable for half of all U.S. renters. The study from Harvard finds rents went way up during COVID. Half of renters paying more than 30% of their income on rent. 25% of people pay more than 50% of their income on rent. The study author rather told NPR, even though rents have started to come down in some expensive areas, people most in need are not seeing a lot of relief. She says new apartments on average are more than $1,400 a month. Now remember, this is nationwide. She adds that millions of low-cost apartments have been wiped off the market. Average cost for an apartment in LA County is $2,700 a month, although that is down about $300 since last year. It is still twice, nearly twice, the national average.
What's a young college graduate to do?
Stay home.
Yeah,
Live at home.
I guess so.
Yeah.
ADU,
Till the
the back.
next day.
I mean,
Yeah.
But it should be no surprise because everything has
Yeah.
gone up. Everything is super expensive, and with that, you ask a landlord how much it costs them to get a sink fixed,
Yeah.
to get
Sure.
the apartment re-cleaned and painted. Everything is through the roof.
Learn how to do it yourself.
yeah,
There you go.
Especially if you're a homeowner.
Yes.
Yeah.
unreal.
That's definitely unreal. And they had mentioned that the average rental price is 1,400. That video clip is from beginning of the year, late last year. I just checked for July 2025 across the country. The average rental is $2,100. $2,100, and you don't get much for that. I believe it's more than 50% of the nation that can't afford rent. It's crazy. You start thinking about what are you getting for the money? You're not getting any more than you would have gotten 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, rent was doable. It wasn't always cheap, but you could afford it. Now we're way beyond affordability. And a lot of it has to do with all the large investment firms that are gobbling up all the property. It used to be mom and pop, regular average Joe buys a rental property or two for some income, maybe make it into a full-time gig. Uh, those days they're almost gone completely. Now it's all corporations running the show. Let's take a look at what she has to say about the fun that we're having in the society.
Hot take, and I'm not judging because I literally was in this situation like a few months ago. I cannot fathom paying $1,000 a month to live with three other people. It literally bothers me that rent prices have gotten so insane that you're gonna pay $4 grand for a tiny ass unit. So, like for example, the situation I was in was I graduated college, I got a full-time job. It was downtown, and so there wasn't a lot of options, and I couldn't afford to live by myself. So I had to live with like three other college students. I paid $1,000 to live with three girls. Keep in mind, our unit was tiny. I could not fit like literally anything in my room. I was like cramped. I've learned like how to be a minimalist now because like I had no room in that apartment. My walking pad was like literally right next to my bed. Like there was no privacy. But I'm just not understanding like how people are graduating college and like moving out on their own, trying to be independent, trying to like stream away from their parents, and you're gonna tell me that it costs $1,000 to live with three other people. So obviously, if I didn't live with three other people, I'd be paying $2,000 in rent. $2,000. Keep in mind that that doesn't include any other bill you have, on top of the fact that that is literally like half of what you make. The math like doesn't make sense in my brain. And the fact that now I live in a lot less busy area and the rent is still expensive as fuck. I don't live anywhere near where I go to school. I drive there every day and the rent is still fucking ass crack expensive. When I moved into this apartment, we didn't even have a washer and dryer. Like, what do you mean? Like, and this is not me being a brat, like, get fucking better rent prices. No wonder people are living in their parents' basement. Like, this is why. Oh, not to mention I had two sources of income too.
That's just it. Roommates. You're an adult. You graduate college, got your career started. It used to be up on this point that no problem. You get a rent on your own. Live by yourself. Leave the nest. Not anymore. There's no wonder why a lot of young adults are living with their parents. They have to, even if they have a job. It's insane. And you just heard her story. That's the way it goes for a lot of people. The money she's spending for a small piece of a house she shares with three or four other people, that's crazy. And it's the investment firms. They're dictating the prices. It's not a free open market society when it comes to the rentals across the country. There's articles out there you can read that discuss how there is a small group of corporations that get together and say, hey, what do you want the rent to be next month? That's pretty much how it goes. So how are you going to fight that when they have the majority of the rental properties? DOJ is going after some of the largest firms right now regarding the price gouging because it's insane. Now, this guy puts a pretty decent spin on the way property managers view the way it is.
But the housing market is crazy in Tampa right now. You gotta take what you can get. When I was looking for an apartment, I filled out an application, brought it back to a property. And she said, oh wow, this is great. Your check really renovated the last apartment that only cost $250 a month more. They have stainless steel appliances. If you're qualified for that, then I'm not gonna give you an extra $250 a month for stainless steel appliances. That's $3 grand a year. I will take the stainable appliances.
That's right. So that gives you a little perspective on the mindset of the property management companies. They want to nickel and dime you for every little thing. They're trying to upsell him for $250 a month, $3 grand a year for stainless steel appliances. I mean, do the math on these things. He could be buying those stainless steel appliances with the way they're gouging them. It's no different than when you get on Zillow or Realtor.com. You get on those sites and you're looking for a rental and they have luxury apartments. Yeah, what do those luxury apartments provide that a standard apartment doesn't? Most of the time, it's nothing. Sometimes they'll have a pool. something like that, if it's even maintained well. It's all scam. It's smoke and mirrors. It's no different than the snake oil salesmen of yesteryear. It's a joke. And right now, they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it. And if people don't speak up, it's going to continue. It's gotten worse every year for years now. And it's the point that it's ridiculous. I don't see how you go into one of these offices and speak to a property manager and they want to lay out the lease, which is also ridiculous. And they can look at you straight in the eye with a straight face and they take their BS seriously as if they don't know they're bending you over every time. This guy has a good perspective on what rent prices should be.
So I came across this. It says this is the max rent you should be paying based upon your salary. Now, just so you guys know for reference, the average American makes about $49,000, which means your rent should be about $1,041. But here's the thing. The average of a one-bedroom apartment in the United States right now is $1,700. That's damn near a 70% increase, okay? Now, one thing I am happy about is that the feds are suing certain rent companies for hiking up prices and gouging renters. That's a good thing. But ultimately, the rent is just too damn high. I know in California, we have a ballot measure that talks about rent control. And people are saying, you don't want to have rent control because builders will be too shy to build. Man, forget that. We need rent control because the rent is too damn high. And what I can clearly see is that a lot of major companies are taking advantage of people, hiking up the rent, and trying to squeeze people. And that's just not cool. Everybody should be able to make a profit in the United States. But gouging your fellow countrymen ain't right. That's not cool. So I'm hoping that this bill in California passes and we can get some rental relief for people that need it in terms of capping what they can go up to after your lease is done. Because I think about my mom who just lost her husband of 46 years. If I and my brother wasn't there, my mom would be looking at this price and she can't afford that.
That's just it. This guy laid it out plain simple, straightforward. Got the list there on what rent should be based off of your income. How it's been for decades and decades before right now, where it made sense. You literally, 20, 30 years ago, you could get some entry-level job. You just get out of high school, not even a college degree. You get out of high school, you get a regular job, just a regular job. And you can afford a one-bedroom apartment, and you can survive. You won't have to have a side hustle, no 2, 3 other jobs. No, you can make it. But the numbers don't add up anymore. You can't make it. You could write down on paper and do the math and present it to anyone. Even a delusional purpose, you can't make it now because of the way the system is. The math just doesn't add up. It's not there anymore. Now, I mentioned to you a moment ago about property managers, talking to them, and they got a straight face with the ridiculous BS they're trying to shove down your throat, and they take themselves seriously as if they don't know they're screwing you. This guy has an interesting take on the leasing situation.
Hey, I'm trying to rent a one-bedroom apartment. What's your requirements? Okay, sir, here you go. You have to have an 800 credit score first. You have to make 9 times the rent every 2 weeks. You can't have no tickets on your driver's license. If you're not married, there's going to be a $1,000 non-refundable deposit. If you have pets, whether that's bats, roaches, or any type of animal, that's going to be another $500 non-refundable deposit. And, shit, I almost forgot. What the fuck? It's more? Yeah. It's an application fee. I left it out. It's a non-refundable $750. Okay, I got $7. $750. Bitch. And if you meet those requirements, you will qualify for a chance to get approved for an apartment. What the fuck you mean a chance? How much is the rent? Because you said I gotta make 9 times that. Oh shit, I almost forgot. You said a 1-bedroom, no bath, $1,500 a month. Bitch, I gotta make 13 racks a week. Yeah, bitch, you don't even make that shit.
What a spin. Hey, it's supposed to be humorous, which it is, but you get the point. That's the way it is. It's that ridiculous. Even if you put a little spin on that, they do. The companies want you to make 3 times the rent per month. And with the way these rental prices are, if your place costs $2,000 a month, they're going to expect you to make 3 times that amount every month. That's your income. A lot of people, they don't get close to it. And that's hence back to having a roommate. None of it adds up. And you want to compound the problem with not only is the requirement for your income getting to be ridiculous, you just heard what he said about the application fee. That's definitely that's the moneymaker for them. You can take a huge apartment complex, bunch of units. They got people coming and going all the time. Availability, it's just a rotation on what units are out there that they can rent out. So what do? When they put the ad out, they could have 50 different people saying, hey, I want that apartment over there. Okay, like you heard him said, fill out this application form, pay a fee. Can you imagine if they had 50 people come in, 50 interested parties, and they each paid a fee, knowing that they're probably not even going to process the majority of those? That's free money. That's stealing money. They knew from the get-go, they're not even going to look at these people. They might have the first handful of people they're interested in. It's like, all right, they kind of passed all the initial checks. We're going to go with these couple people. Give them an opportunity. They make you feel lucky. You have a privilege to be able to rent their dump, their overpriced dump. You should feel honored that they give you that opportunity. Yeah. So what do they do with the rest of the money? They pocket it, shove it in the old bank account, make some interest off it. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. That guy had a good take on it. And the way he put that, those are the hoops you have to jump through. I've rented a bunch of places. I lived across this country. I have seen the crazy leases and the hoops they want you to jump through. And they do come off with this sense of superiority as if they're doing you a favor. I've had a few conversations with some property managers when I was just reviewing the property, not even signing the dotted line. And to say they have attitude, that's to put it mildly. It's like the rich snobs you see in a movie. It's the same mentality. So this guy here, he wraps it all up pretty good in a nutshell.
How are we supposed to buy a house when my rent is going up another $195 a month? It has gone up $720 in 4 years for the same place that I live in. $8,640 a year more for the same place I lived in 4 years ago. I'm sorry, property taxes are not going up that much that landlords are charging that much more. We have to stop blaming the economy, the government, the president. It is greedy people taking more profits in. When people tell you, just move somewhere else, why would I move to another state that's cheaper? Why should I have to uproot my family, lose my career, just to afford to live somewhere? You're implying people who live in where I live now don't deserve a fair shot at cost of living. And places with cheaper rent pay lower salaries. That's how this whole thing works for the most part. And my girlfriend's a teacher. Like, if she moves to a state with a cheaper cost of living, she might not even have a pension or her benefits anymore. Instead of telling the middle class to keep, looking somewhere cheaper, why don't you all align together and get people out of control that are doing this to us? You are always closer to being homeless than you are to being rich. Everyone just assumes one day they're going to get rich. And that's why they don't stand up for people just like them in the struggle right now. If not for the raise I got 4 years ago, I would be totally screwed. I don't even want to hand out or help. I just want things to not be so crazy expensive every year. Go buy pizza from where I work. Go buy my merchandise. I don't know. Not a handout, just advertising.
He presented that well. Pretty much summarized the process on a superficial level. Why should you have to move? Why can't you just have affordable housing in your locality? Common sense doesn't apply here the way the system is right now. The scammy, rigged system. Common sense, it's out the window. He had a great line there. Most people are closer to being homeless than they are to being rich. That's true. That's a good line. So, that's where a lot of people are in this country. It has to change. It's good. People keep discussing this. It needs to be discussed so we can make some change. So now we've seen the BS that the average person has to endure to rent an overpriced dump. No matter what the economy is, inflation, we have a perfect storm right now for everything being a mess like it is. Everything's a mess. because you got everything falling apart at the same time. It's coming together for the perfect storm. There is a way out of it, but at the moment, that's what we're enduring. The hell, the ridiculousness of the entire system. It does need to change. And he made a point about all the bad things, but it isn't just those few points like the economy, inflation. It's everything. The job growth. Are we actually getting pay raises? No, nothing that keeps up with inflation. You get that 2% annual raise. Wow, that really made a difference in your life, didn't it? But besides all that fun stuff that people deal with on a daily basis, there is the perspective of the other side. The corporations. Like I said, predominantly corporations now. Even foreign corporations. Firms from elsewhere come here and buy a property. And then they dictate what our cost of living is. That's nuts. So, to wrap it up, this would be the perspective of the other side.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies and cuts through and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
There you go. Greed. That's the problem. All right. Well, nice chatting with you guys. Share your experience. Leave a comment. Let me know the hell you guys endured in the past few years. All this crazy system that we know is rigged against us. And we know it needs to change. So until next time, I'll see you in the next round.